Please welcome our superhero sponsor, Docs42, and their super team, Keith Fowler, a CRM project manager, Christian Bauer, CEO, and Johannes Linder, lead technical evangelist. This team of superheroes will be saving the day by presenting document automation for D365 and M365 customer FRASER Yachts. Stick around after their session for a live Q&A with these real-life superheroes.
Welcome everybody to our session, Powerful Document Automation for Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Teams, and of course the Power Platform. All of this will be including a very cool customer case from FRASER Yachts. Now, we've prepared an awesome lot for you today, and for all of this, luckily, I'm not alone, but I'm also joined by Docs42 CEO Christian Bauer and CRM Project Manager at FRASER Yachts, Keith Fowler.
Hello everyone, my name is Christian Bauer, I'm CEO of Docs42. Thanks a lot for having joined our session. I may provide a short overview of the challenges of document automation and how to solve them.
Hi everyone, I'm Keith Fowler, the CRM Project Manager from FRASER Yachts, and I'm delighted to be here with Docs42 to show you our very cool Docs42 integration.
So what's the plan for the next 40 minutes? The first thing Christian is going to cover is the essence of document automation. Why do you need it? What are the challenges? And, if done right, how can it make life a lot easier? To the how can it make life a lot easier, I'm going to provide you with an extensive live demo around Dynamics CE, SharePoint, Teams, Power Platform, and of course design in Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. The grande finale will be our customer case, FRASER Yachts. As the leading provider in the super yachting industries, design and glamour is very important to them. That also of course applies to design in their documents. Keith and I are going to discuss the customer case, and we're also going to do a live demo. Well, Keith is going to do a live demo from the actual FRASER Yachts environment. Speaking about all the glamour, let's see some of those yachts. There is still one very important thing that I need to mention. Have you seen this bus? If you want to win it, all you need to do is either scan the QR code or visit our booth. There is going to be a link. We will answer some simple questions around that. Yeah, and hopefully it will be sent to you soon.
Okay, so why is document automation essential on the Dynamics 365 platform? I mean, every company is creating tons of documents, of offers, of contracts, of presentations, and any other kinds of documents daily, because it's necessary to communicate with your customers. And if these documents are a bit more complex, use business rules, text modules along with that, you cannot do that with the standard tools, because you can not easily do that with reporting services. At least it's very hard to program that. Business users cannot do that. And also with electronic reporting, business documents on finance and operation, it's not easily doable because you cannot do complex business rules there. Okay? What are business users doing? They resort to copy pasting. They create these documents manually, which is of course extremely error prone. It takes a lot of effort to do that. It's cumbersome. It's not fun for the business users who need to do that. So you need to get rid of that. Okay? Another trend here is what Microsoft is doing. Watch it. Microsoft is continuously splitting up its applications on the Dynamics 365 platform and Microsoft 365 platform into smaller and universal services, like for example Power Automate. There has always been the capability to do some workflows in NAV and in AX and everywhere basically. SharePoint, of course. But now Microsoft is more and more introducing and relying on the Power Platform, where you have the opportunity and the option to create workflows for every platform, for every application. So it's a universally usable service. Same is true for Teams, for example, Microsoft Teams. You can integrate all the applications, CE, SharePoint, everything into Microsoft Teams. So you can use Teams as a unified front door for your business users to interact with all of your applications. And you know what the adoption of Teams is, so it's growing vastly. Okay? That means we are not on an island anymore. In a modern architecture, you won't have a customer saying, okay, I'm using my AX and I do everything from that. In a modern architecture, the same customer would say, I'm using finance and operation to run my business processes. Okay, but I want to have my customer contacts in Dynamics 365 CE because my marketing department is running their campaigns from there. And we do have some automation. We use Power Automate for that. Yes, we have documents. Of course, we need to manage them. So we need SharePoint, of course. And maybe they use Teams as a unified front door for everything. So you're not on an island anymore. Okay? If you use the standard way to create documents, reporting services, electronic reporting, these are always an add-on to one of these platforms, so that's not enough. And of course, it leads to the fact that information is more and more distributed. That doesn't make it exactly easier for copy-pasters as well. And it's also true for a lot of third-party tools that can create documents. I mean, these tools bring along a more powerful document generation engine, yes, but they are still add-ons to one of the Microsoft platform. And as soon as a customer is using more than multiple platforms, the add-on is not enough. You need a universally usable service that can integrate with all of these platforms. Same as Power Automate is. And believe me, Microsoft is not going to stop here. They will be bringing up new applications. So you need a service that is able, out of the box, to integrate with these new applications as well, to be safe for the future. Okay? So you need a document automation software that works everywhere, integrates with every system, also future systems, and is capable of generating complex documents, following complex rules. And instead of that, is easy to configure so that business users can do that. Okay? Yeah, and that's Docs 42 for you. Let's have a look. Well, it's absolutely essential to design document templates in Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Let business users do that. They know the formatting capabilities. Because if you have your IT department doing that, then corporate design rests in peace. But it's easy. It's easy to integrate data fields and also complex business rules with Docs 42 into these documents. And you can integrate all your data. Of course, all Microsoft Dynamics 365 platforms, CE, BC, Finance and Operations, SharePoint, of course, Excel, and you might have an SAP or a Salesforce system as well. It's also essential that you are able to test these documents very easily. Just in Microsoft Word with a plugin, you just can test them with one click. Instead of that, you can trigger the document generation from absolutely every platform. It's a universally usable service.
All right, let's get started with the live demo. So the first thing that I want to show you is a quote scenario. Now imagine the following situation. You want, of course, to generate a quote, but this quote does not only have data from Dynamics CE, but it should also be very collaborative. So you want to have some modules that can be changed in Microsoft SharePoint, and of course the data should also be changed in Microsoft CE. Before jumping into the actual data structure, here you see some examples of the Docs 42 integration, where there's multiple output options. So there's going to be the option to generate a PDF, generate a docx, you can save it to SharePoint, of course, in Teams, create a draft email, send a PDF via mail, attach it to an entity if you want to keep it within CRM. And yeah, there are some other two options where, for example, a quote can be more complex one, and there's also another option for a simpler one. The first thing that I'd like to do now is just generate that PDF right away. And as I said, of course, this is based on the CE data as well as the data we get from some SharePoint modules. Let's save this. The beginning, if we just pop this out a little bit, and also have this on the other side of the screen. So there's a couple of things you will notice on this document. So here we have a QR code, there is some header information. This is all coming from Dynamics CE. As you can see here, that's the information we provide here. If we have a look into this document, now I mentioned there should be some collaborative effort in this one. And the way we guarantee this to the users is via SharePoint. So in a SharePoint library, of course, this is also accessible within Teams. You have 4 different modules with a module type. Those of you who don't know this is SharePoint. And if I open any of these, for example, there is there's the installation effort we have. There is also going to be a Word document that is presented to us from the project manager, and this gets included in this very spot. So basically, although the document is generated from Dynamics CE, we take the data also from SharePoint. Yeah, and this goes all the way to the document. So these are, for example, the products that we get from Dynamics CE directly. If I move back here, there will be our products, so the solar panels, the panel holder and the battery, those you will see here too, with of course including all the entity images. This one is the table we get from Excel. So in here you see, for example, that all of this information is provided, also displayed in the very same CI as the one above, although it's completely separate tables. And then lastly, we do have some PowerPoint here and also an advertisement. So if I have a look into the PowerPoint here, you will see that's the connection plan, for example, provided by a technician into SharePoint. And the last one is something from the sales department. So they also have the option to do an advertisement that in this case also is done in SharePoint directly. Good. Coming back to the data structure, let me also show you some of the other output examples. In order to see that this is actual live data, let me just change the quantity of some of those. Right, so, and we have a save here on the browser. And another option that of course is very important is if you want to output a Word document. So in most cases PDF will be good, but for some you might need a Word document, and then you can again edit and change there. Perfect, so here we have our download. And of course, as I don't want this to be sent out directly because there's some information I want to provide, here is the way to directly do this in a Microsoft Office document that you can send out later as well. In the quantity, we already should see some changes. As you see here, yeah, we had 1 before for the solar panels. Now we have 10 based on the data changes. Let's have a look into the next options. So there is the Save to SharePoint and Teams. Once I click this, it automatically gets saved into SharePoint, well, and of course into Teams, with also some information from CE. So when I later on will look into this document in SharePoint, I will know what, for example, the quote ID will be. And if we have a look into that specific library, maybe let's do it this time in Teams. So we will look into this library in Teams directly. There's 2 documents that you see in here. One is integrated just now, which is the one I did because I pushed the button of actually generating this. A second one that we see here is the integration into Flow. So remember when I changed the quantity on this one, doing this basically also triggered a flow in the background, and Docs42 can be triggered through this and automatically generate the document as we see here. Now let's just do a quick check if that is the document we have already seen before. Yeah, perfect. And as you see in here, once again, we have the data, same as we had before. Of course, also with our repetition of the products. and with some other documents that we integrations that we want to see in here. Cool. Next one, generate a draft email. We could send the email right away, which is something we have in another option here. That's the one below. But this one is actually where you can have a draft email sent out, and me as the one who still wants to add something personal to sending out the quote. So that just opened on my other screen. Let me just move it here. I can, as you see in here, send this out again with the very same document, even with dynamic naming on this one. And again, very same document with the same integration that we already had, with the integration of the PowerPoint. Yeah, and as you see before, there's the option to attach it to an entity, so you will see the note there. And also, if you want to have some other options in here, like a simple sales quote, which is a more, like a shorter version of this, you can also do it within multiple options of that button. Let's just open this and see it really quick. Yeah, and it basically, as you see in here, doesn't have all the SharePoint integration that we had before, but of course it does not need to be in a SharePoint integration, it can be CE directly as well. Good, so much for the quote scenario. Let's have a look into another scenario. So those of you who are familiar with the accounts, let's create an account blind in here. And there's also some options I have, again this time not with the drop down, but very flexible as in the top bar. And when generating those, you will see the first time that this is going to be an actual PowerPoint. So the very common scenario also that we will see later on with Keith is that you want to output PowerPoints. In that very PowerPoint, well, you see there is again some information, also some images, but very importantly, you have a dynamic contact list, and based on what in this case, seniority is, for example, it will be displayed on different slides. So the complexity in the document can be very, very high. Maybe to show you an example of how this can change, let me show you another account. So let's take Contoso, where this should be different, and maybe there are some more managers, some others, but still the design in this depends on our conditions. So let's open the account plan. All right, and remember before we had somewhere red, somewhere green. Now this time it even switches, so it's taking the next slide and another slide again that has the coloring depending on the conditions. The next scenario I'd like to show you is based on the contacts. So, well, so far we had rather sales documents, we had the account plan. The next one is going to be based on the contact. And in that contact, I want to create a contract. So in our case, an employee contract. And if I just generate this one, well, again, in this case with the standard way where you will have a PDF generated. The thing that I will look into in a second, well, this is an employee contract, as you see here. The table of contents is dynamic. Also, everything you see here is based on conditions, also integrates the data. But let's say you want to send this out and have it signed right away. There are some options where you have dynamic integrations of signing. And the one we in this case integrated is DocuSign, if you're familiar with it. And if I send the contract via DocuSign, it will be sent through an account into that person's inbox. And that, of course, I have opened locally. So if we check out Michaela's inbox, you will see there is a new email we just generated right now. And I will be able, as the employee who gets that very document, to review it and basically sign it directly with DocuSign. Let's just have a look into this. There's also a comment, I can continue. And then, yeah, this basically leaves the spheres of Docs42 and goes directly into DocuSign. The last scenario that I'd like to show you in CE directly is we had the contact here. Now the next one will be We so far always had a generation where it's based on the entity item that is already open. In this case, what I'd like to show you is one document that is based on many, many items. So basically I can select here dynamically what I'd like to have in this, can click on the product generation, and as you see, it does not only include a product itself, but it's going to be an entire product list. Now, as you see, there are also the entity images, everything gets repeated, some have a description, some have not. And you could also have the option to basically work with conditions in here. So if you want to do a condition based on anything and exclude something or write a text. Perfect. The way all of this is integrated is through our solution. So if you want to check out our solution, let me just show you this one. So there is a link to this. It's very easy to deploy. Get in contact with us if you want to have it set up with us together, or where there is also a lot of resources on how you get it started. Yeah, and that's basically the way to go, the Docs42 D365 CE document generation. So far, you have seen all of the integration that works with the Docs42 server side, so either in the cloud or in an on-premise context, where basically everything gets generated and the user doesn't need to care about any template design. The next thing that I'd like to show you is the template design that you do in an Office document. So as you see in this very SharePoint site, we have the CE templates or the for sales templates. Also, there are the finance and operations templates and the Business Central templates. As we mentioned already, if you want to see one of those, we are happy to do a live demo for you. So just let us know on the contact side of docs42.com, and we're happy to do a demo on finance and operations or Business Central. Back to the templates. So this one, remember the very first document that we had based on the sales quote. So this is the one we are going to have a look into. So there are many, as you see, the PowerPoints one, but there is also our sales quote. And if we open this, now if we click on Insert Data field up here, you will be able to see all of the different entities that we integrate. At this point, also very important, you see there's many in here. There is no limit on the level you can go down into the entities, so a lot of conditions can go down all the way nested. For those that are technically interested in this, and for those that want to test the document, you don't need to do it on the server side only. So you will have the option to click on a Generate button up here and print, or well, in this case, open the document in Office again. So you will have like what you see is what you get experience based on, let's take again the solar panels that we had before and generate the document. So all the blue fields are filled with data. There's one that you see here, which remember was the Word document we got from SharePoint. Again, if I either double click on the name here or if I click on Insert Data field on top, we will be able to integrate whatever field is in our data sources, and in this case it even has a different type. It's a type Word document. That kind of brings us into the direction of how complex the data can get. So there is number, date times, images, barcodes like we do up here. There's PowerPoints that we can integrate, PDFs, so a lot of different options in terms of getting complex data into your document. If we scroll down a little further, you will see the automated tables, and as you see there's only one line here, but three because of an automation in terms of the repetition. The same applies to our Excel, and the last page there's going to be our PowerPoint and also going to be our advertisement, again coming from SharePoint. The question you probably have in mind, how do you connect to these data sources? In our case, that's going to happen through the Docs42 Data Map Designer. So up here you see there is the Data Map Designer, where I can connect to all of my different data sources, with of course today the focus in the CE data source. And there you can also combine all of the different data sources. So let's say you have a scenario that integrates finance and operations, CE and SharePoint. Here is your way to integrate all the different data sources. Let's briefly have a look into the sales quote, and there is different options to connect to this, so all within the Microsoft standards with Azure Active Directory, to those who are familiar with this. And yeah, in here you can basically just select any of the fields in the quote, and if you're technically interested in the Fetch XML, here is also a way to go to basically directly integrate the Fetch XML from a CE CRM system. One thing that you don't see out of the box here is that we can also integrate data sources from Dataverse. So, as a quick recap, we've seen a lot of different options to generate documents from Dynamics CE directly: Word documents, PowerPoint documents, PDF documents, save them to SharePoint, send an email right away. So a lot of flexibilities for users to generate documents to wherever scenario you have. And at the end of the day, have a slim and easy business process for document automation. FRASER Yachts are the leading provider in the super yachting industries in so many different aspects. It's a real honor for me today to have Keith Fowler, CRM Project Manager, with me today from FRASER Yachts to discuss how they produce high-end documents, sales documents in their CRM in combination with SharePoint and, of course, Docs42. Before jumping into the actual projects, Keith, can you give us some background on FRASER Yachts?
Of course, yeah. Hi, Johannes. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again, as always. So, as you say, FRASER are one of the leading providers worldwide in the super yacht industry. We operate in all aspects of this very high-end, glamorous industry, from sales through chartering, through yacht management, crewing, design, and even build. If you can afford to build one of these, we'll help you with that. We have over 150 employees across 20 plus locations all over the globe, and have a very strong brand focus to help us promote ourselves in this very high industry where very high standards are obviously expected. So I've got a little video here if you want me to share with you, just to whet your appetite as to some of the things we get involved in.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, let's watch that.
Are you searching for a space that you can call your own? Somewhere you can count on. A place where you are in control. Somewhere you and yours can escape to. Whenever you wish. Where you can be together, enjoying quality time away from it all. A chance to enjoy the world and explore new ones. A chance to take stock, to savor a life worth living. Where is that space? It's wherever you want it to be, because that space is your yacht. There's never been a better time to own your own space. Yacht Sales by FRASER. Take your first step to making it happen. FRASER, the trusted name in yachting.
Wow, I wish I could be on one of those. Well, let's get back to business. So when starting the document automation project, can you give us some insights into the biggest challenges you faced and also the requirements you had?
Sure, yeah. Well, as a company who wished to produce a very high quality of output document for this very demanding market, we had a requirement to be able to produce those very easily for our users, to produce them from a variety of different sources of data and content. We have a number of different database sources, a number of different image storage sources. As you can imagine, we have a lot of very high quality images for all these lovely looking yachts that we wish to pull together into our documents. And our desire was to produce a very high quality of output document, which could be shared via email or could in fact be used as a printed document to give out at a yacht show or a client meeting or some presentation that we're doing. So we had a very high requirement for the quality of these documents. And as I say, we're pulling together data from a number of different sources into these. We're pulling images from a number of different locations and of different formats and sizes in. So we required the capability to be able to manipulate those to give us the optimum output result. And the real requirement was that we wanted this all to be very simple so that the actual user of this tool presses a button, they get a very good quality document coming out. They've got no idea of the logic behind it or where the content's coming from or the formatting that's going on. They don't need to know. They just press a button. They get a very good looking document that they can go off and use. And that was really the challenge for us, was to how to solve that. Mm-hmm. We looked when we were rolling out our CRM solution, we looked at a number of different solutions and different options for this. And some of the challenges we had were around the layout and the configuration and being able to align images together or text boxes together, and to be able to stretch the production of the document to the full page so that it did become a very high quality printable document. And we found a number of solutions had limitations around that, or that the solution was extremely complex to achieve that. What we really wanted was something that was going to be very easy for us to maintain as well. I'm not a developer, and we're not a company full of developers in-house. We were very good at producing Word and PowerPoint documents and some other design document. And so, we really needed something that was going to be easy for us to maintain as the template in the background, very easy for us to redesign and change. We're always improving and making things look different and maintaining the high brand standards that we have to adopt and adhere to. And so, the desire was something that was easy to work with, but would give us that high quality of output.
Yeah, I guess like the live demo we will see in a second will hopefully pinpoint to this. And the challenges you just mentioned, it's of course something that a lot of customers have. And especially when you need to develop or design new documents, it has to be user-friendly. So Office is the Office format to go. Of course, before we want to see the best part of the live demo, can you maybe pinpoint to the 3 major advantages you see when using Docs42?
Sure, yeah. Well, the first one is, as I say, I'm not a developer, so for me to work with Microsoft Office documents as the template is very straightforward. Very easy for me to design a Word document, or to get help from our marketing team to make it fit the brand guidelines, make it have the look and feel that we desire. So having everything based around Microsoft Office is fantastic and very easy. The data connection system, if we call it that, how you manage your data integration in the background, is also very simple and very user-friendly. As I say, we're pulling data from a number of different sources. We've got a huge number of tables in our CRM database. We've got other data sources. We're pulling images from different locations. And to have all that presented in a very visual and easy to understand way, so that even somebody like me can pull the right field into the right location and edit it and format it using the power of the Microsoft Office, is very, very helpful and very easy and intuitive to use. So that's a very strong point, a great benefit of Docs42. And the third point is that when we first approached Docs42, they were very confident that they would be able to achieve the output quality that we wanted and achieve the integration of all our different sources together. And they demonstrated that for us without any commitment from us at the outset. They went off and put together some samples, gave us those documents back, which proved that they were going to be able to achieve what we required. The level of support that they have, the level of experience and understanding that they have is phenomenal. I've never yet asked them a question that they haven't been able to answer, but I've tried very hard. And so, they were able to demonstrate to us very, very quickly that they would be able to deliver the solution that we require. And, we did that very quickly, very efficiently, and to the satisfaction of all our users.
Yeah, well, thank you. Take that as a compliment. And also from my side, it was also from the very beginning great fun to also have this very globally project, basically, because we had Florida included, Fort Lauderdale included, you were included. We are based in Austria, and all of this worked basically with Teams meetings. So it was great fun to start this. And no more words from my side. I guess it's time for the perfect moment. Let's start the live demo.
So we'll show you a very quick demonstration here of one of the documents that we have, which is the production of a high quality specification for an individual yacht. What we have is a customized button here in our ribbon, where we can select the different type of document we want. And that is then going to pull together data from this part of our CRM system, which is the yacht record, where we have about 500 different fields. We have a selection of images for this yacht, which we can predefine which ones we're going to select, and it's going to put them all together into a nice PowerPoint document. So when I click on the create document, it's going to pop up a little selection menu here. I'm able to choose the paper size. We obviously operate worldwide, so we can either produce it in A4 or in US letter size. So I'll go ahead and do it in A4. And here I can select if I want to customize the salesperson's details that are going to be on this, or if I want to put my own name or whatever, which I'll leave for this purpose here, but I can change that very easily here. So I'll go ahead and create the document, press the button, and here it's now pulling the data from our CRM, from some other sources. It's pulling images from both from Microsoft Azure or from our image storage bank, formatting all those together and putting them into a PowerPoint template. I'll go ahead and open this up for us here, and we'll get a look at this. You saw how quickly it happened there. It was in about 5 seconds. It's pulled all this data together into quite a nice looking PowerPoint document. The reason we have a PowerPoint as the output is to give us the ability to still go in and edit this if we wish. We can go in and edit some of this text here. If we wish to, we can change some of the details. We could swap or edit some of the images, but hopefully most of the work has been done, that this is now the document that the salesperson or the marketing person desires, and they can save this as a PDF and email it, or they can print it out or do whatever. So you'll see it's pulled together some very nice images here. It's taking the document, one of our requirements to take the document right to the edge of the page so that when we print it, there was no white spaces around it. It's formatted all very nicely. You'll see it's quite a nice looking old yacht, this one. It'd be quite nice for your holidays, Johannes, when the time, when the time comes.
Yeah, I will ask you. I'm certainly coming back to this.
And a very nice looking output document produced very simply, and I can save this and I can edit this locally and work with that as I so desire. So the second demonstration I want to show you is for the second type of document that we produce, which is a selection of yachts. So if we imagine we're sending a selection of possible yachts to somebody who's interested in buying one or maybe chartering one for a holiday. So we'll start off here again in our CRM. I'm looking at a grid view here of some yachts that I've pre-selected. I can order these. They're currently ordered in alphabetical, or I can order them by price or by size, and that will be the order which is carried through and reflected in the actual output document that we're going to produce. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a random selection from these here. Just pick a few so we get a nice looking output document. That'll do. I've got the same create document button that we had before, which allows me to then select the page size that I want the output to be on, be it A4 or US letter. I'll select US letter for that one. And here I can also select which salesperson's name is going to appear at the top of this document. So let me go ahead and select somebody else for this one. We'll put Antoine in. Hope he doesn't mind. I'll go ahead now and create the document. And in this case, we're going to produce this as a Microsoft Word output document. So the system here is going off and pulling the data from these different yachts that I've selected, pulling an image from each of the image sources for these unique yachts, and putting them together into this Word document, which we'll get a look at now.
Yeah, it's a very great example of an Office document. And of course, many requirements that we have is that at the same time, you could produce a PDF output. So of course, the same we've seen before in the PowerPoint, also in this Office Word document, in this case, you can produce PDFs if you already know that this is going to be your certain document, or even send out the email as a PDF right away.
Yes, absolutely. And that's very easy to do. You just select that in the options. But we've kept this as being an editable Word document because you'll see here we've got little spaces where you can type your own text here. So this is where our sales team, for example, would want to say that this is a very nice yacht. You might be interested because we know you like X, Y, and Z. And they can put their own little bit of text in here just to personalize this for a particular client if they so desire. So you see here, it's pulled for the yachts that I selected. We've taken an image, it's formatted the size and shape of that to fit in the template. It's pulled the basic data for the yacht here. We've got the intelligence behind if we don't have certain fields completed in our database, it puts in a dash or it will remove that line altogether, for example. And we can
also see Antoine.
And yeah, it's got Antoine's details at the top here so that when the customer decides which one he wants to buy, he'll give Antoine a call and close the deal, as they say. So yeah, a very nice looking output document again. So I'm going to switch roles now. I've been pretending to be a user in creating the documents. I'm now going to show you the other side of the experience for someone managing and editing the templates that we have. So this is the template here for the selection document that we just produced, where we're producing multiple yachts on one document for somebody to send a selection. So you can see here, it's a very simple Microsoft Word document. We can see all the fields that are being pulled in and collated together. In here, you can see the little blue symbols here are the locations for the fields that we're pulling from our CRM or from one of the images. And there's some formatting and custom coding in here as well. Very easy for me to work with on my desktop and edit this and change this. And when I want to produce a sample to see how good my changes are or whether they are achieving what I want, it's very straightforward. I click on Generate. We've got some predefined options in here to pull some set data through for the test purposes. I'm going to produce this from our UAT system this time. Go ahead and produce this document. Here it's going off again, pulling the data from multiple yachts, multiple images, putting them into a document, which is going to open up here on my desktop and allow me very quickly to see the improvements or changes that I've made. I can then come back and compare with the template if I want to make further improvements or further changes, and refine the layout and the look and feel of this document. So very simple to work on my desktop using this.
Even though I've been involved in the project, it's always great to see it again in the live system and how it can help people in their everyday work life. Thanks again, Keith. It was a pleasure, and it always is a pleasure.
Thank you, Johannes. Yeah, a pleasure. And let me know when you want to book one of these yachts for your holiday this summer.
Yeah, maybe you can forward the contact details to Antoine, and we'll see if we can figure something out. Yeah, in any case, thank you again. And to those of you who also want to see some other customer cases, here are some examples.
We are almost done with today's Docs 42 session. Thank you very much for staying with us, and we really hope you enjoyed it. What can you do now? Well, you have three options. The first one, visit docs42.com/contact to request a free key or also get an individual demo about finance and operations, Business Central, of course customer engagement if you want to dig deeper, or any of other integrations that you're looking into. The second option, join our booth, win this beauty right here, and get in touch with us there directly. The last one is the easiest. Just stay in the session. We are starting the Q&A now.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Q&A session. There have been quite a lot of questions already, so I think it's time for us to tackle those. The first one, Christian, I'll probably ask you. So Ruth has asked about, first of all, the storage of documents as well as the complexity of documents. Can you help us on that?
Yeah, sure. First thing is that when you use Docs42, you normally can reduce the number of templates you have dramatically. As Johannes pointed out before in the chat, Docs42 can use conditions and it can use text blocks. And these text blocks can be Word documents and they can be integrated data-driven. So depending on a condition on the data field, you select a different text block. So that reduces the number of templates dramatically. And on top of that, you can very easily manage these templates on Microsoft SharePoint, for example.
Yeah, for the cloud customers, that's of course perfect. Is a question that we frequently get, is Docs42 limited to the cloud only, Christian?
No, we do have a cloud service, which is Docs42 Online. And I guess, Keith, you are using Docs42 Online together with Dynamics 365 CE.
That's correct, yeah.
But there is also an on-premise solution. So it's really for the customer choosing for the architecture, if you want to run your Docs42 on-prem or if you want to run it in the cloud, it's there for you.
Yeah, perfect. We also had the question by Mark about the SAP integration, as well as other data sources. And that's a question we get very, very frequently, since our challenge for this Dynamics Con was to choose a track, because at the end of the day, we integrate into all the different data sources. Well, of course, there's no SAP track here, but still, if you have any integration with BC, with finance and operations, with CE, like Christian has pointed out in the beginning of the session, if there is something with SQL, with even other Azure blobs or whatever you have. One important information about this is that you can combine all of those at all time. So I guess that's also regarding to your question, Mark. Even in SAP, there are different modules. So if it's SAP HANA, we can integrate that. There's Business One, there's others. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us on the contact page. Of course, there was also the question by Heidi about the integration into Power Automate. Keith, I guess there could be a next level for you as well, right?
Funnily enough, yes, it's something we were just talking about a couple of days ago that I need to come and grill you a little bit about. So yeah, that's definitely something that's on our to-do list now.
Yeah, and also in terms of I think the workflow and Docs42 and document generation being a part of a workflow is something that we also get quite frequently. So we've seen a lot of different options where we do generate those documents manually. But of course, if there is a workflow tool you already use, if you are going for Power Automate, at some point to call Docs42 for document generation, not manually, but automatically from a workflow, that's totally something that we want, that helps you, and that can also then again be, for example, I had a meeting today with the question. Also, we've seen a lot of different options today where we generated one document based on either a lot of products like we've seen, Keith, in the list, or also with the one we had with the sales quote. The other scenario we have frequently is that you create tons of documents, for example, based on a bulk. So that's also something you can do. And then, of course, if you combine bulk and Power Automate or whatever workflow tool you use, there's a lot of creativity you can have in terms of the different scenarios. Keith, one question I have to you that we also get very frequently. So when you think about how long it took us to get that document, the first document ready, if we take that as the hours combined to each other, can you maybe tell the people how long it took you to get the first document ready?
I mean, you guys were incredibly quick and efficient at putting together, what, as I said in the video there, the initial proof of concept you turned around within a day or two, if I recall, and that was quite a complex proof of concept that we were pulling an image from an image bank storage, we were pulling data from CRM, we were combining with other data from, I think, from a spreadsheet at the time we tried as a sample. So we had that combined together, and you were demonstrating that to us within a couple of days. So it was very quick for us to refine that, and for me to go back and forward with my colleagues in marketing and other parts of the business was a much more difficult task, dare I say. But yeah, I think that, for us to put together that initial proof of concept, get the document running, to get us to understand how easy it was going to be to deliver exactly what we wanted was very quick, within a matter of a couple of days, as I said. Similarly, when we then came to look at the second type of document, the same process, the same story, you were able to help us very easily. By then we had a bit of knowledge ourselves on the technology and how it worked. But again, the consultancy that you guys provided was phenomenal, second to none, really, to help us get through those initial stages of understanding how we were pulling data in, and then it was up to us to then refine it in terms of the look and feel and the presentation of the document.
Yeah. One thing I probably need to tell the audience is that you are Mr. Understatement. So honestly, what you did was well, technically perfect. And you pointed out one thing that I guess is in terms also in a process change that Docs 42 might enable you to. So the document design of a very complex PowerPoint document was something that was done in a marketing department. So not like deep dive programming technical users. Somebody who can work with PowerPoint perfectly. Well, kind regards to Dana at that moment, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, as I said, I'm not a developer. I'm an engineer at heart, and I'm a project manager for Fraser. But this allowed me and others who've got skills around producing documents in Microsoft Office in the suite of products there. We were able to work with your solution very, very easily and format and customize and optimize the look and feel of that without us having to be, any level of developer, any level of CRM design or expertise. Really, it was very, very straightforward for us to drag and drop, put the fields where we want them. All the formatting is done using the standard Microsoft Office formatting. So if you know how to format a PowerPoint presentation easily and change text sizes and colors and locations, etc., that's exactly how you do it with Docs 42, which, for me, as somebody who's reasonably good at that, that was great to be able to do it.
Again, Mr. Understatement. Yeah, but again, I think the point also behind this for us is that what should be in those documents in a more programmatic approach. You need to translate that to an IT department, but what should be in that document that enables you to put in a quote what should be there, together, of course, with business units, depending on. But I guess the approach to have the right people to do the right things is very important here.
Yeah, and I guess to your point there, we were coming from documents that were already designed and produced by our marketing team in predominantly in Microsoft suite of PowerPoint or Office. So for us then to convert that into something that was automated through Docs 42 was very simple. We knew if it could be done already in PowerPoint or Office or Word or whatever, we knew we could replicate that and automate that. So we weren't having to get our marketing team then to produce these documents for us each and every time. We could put in the customization with Docs 42 to automate that and make it very simple. So now, rather than having to go to our marketing team when they want to produce a nice looking brochure, our sales guys can press a button, type their name in, and they get a very, very nice output document. So it's a very, very simple user experience. They know nothing of the hours that I spent designing this and fine tuning this for them, but they just press a button and get the document they want, and they no longer have to wait for marketing to turn that around or prepare that for them.
Yeah, and for those of you listening that are a service company and you're working with customers, of course, like our great opportunity, or what we'd like to get in touch with is, if you have a customer that wants to do this, feel free to get in touch with us. Before finalizing the Q&A, the question that always comes to mind is, what does it cost, or how is the licensing? Christian, can you help us on that?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot. I mean, that FRASER Yachts is using Docs 42 does not mean that our price range is in the same price range as the yachts.
No, I'm Scottish, so that should tell you everything about the price.
No, actually, it's a modular pricing system. So you can start small and you can grow with the models you need. So there are various connectors for Docs42. You can use Docs42 with all the systems, as Johannes has pointed out, with CRM, of course, with AX, finance and operation, all the dynamic systems, Business Central, SharePoint, SAP, Salesforce, whatever you want. And there are connectors also, and we charge for them. So basically, you can start small, and you can start with a few $100, basically. Okay. But if you want to do more, and you need more modules, you need more functionality, we charge for that, of course. But still, it's normally when you compare or when you calculate your break-even point. So how long does it take until your investment, you can re-earn your investment? The typical break-even point of a Docs42 introduction is 3 months. So it's very quick.
Just imagine like somebody, we had Antoine in the call as the seller. There are multiple people like that. If each of them either has to do that manually or not in the correct CI, is of course also well, the beneficial side is that it saves them time, but on the other hand, you can reduce errors, which is not because somebody's working badly, but it's just a statistic thing. All right. Let's just check if there's any more questions. I will post again the docs42.com/contact into the chat. So if you want to see anything of this, maybe if you also want to get in touch with Keith, we hope to get you connected then. For everything else, feel free to reach out to contact, so docs42.com/contact, and we are going to our booth directly after this, so don't hesitate to contact us there, chat us there. Also, Liz and the whole DynamicsCon team, thank you for an incredible online experience that has never ever been something like this. And yeah, we really enjoyed it so far. Are enjoying the next 2 days as well. Thanks again, of course, also Keith to you and Christian to you. Always a pleasure. And yeah, Keith, please send me hopefully some of the yachts soon, as
I'll be in touch.
We meet in Monaco after COVID.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.